Seems that AI is just an incremental benefit right now to the users, the engineers that are using it. Not just engineers, you have people like me using AI to create thumbnails and to create whatever. So it's not exclusively for um, engineers, which makes AI very powerful in what it can do, possibly. But the AI is only incremental benefit. Right now, it's not actually doing very much. So it is not doing the kinds of things. And I know that there's a trap here. I just can't think of what the trap is. If he comes in, he checks me. I gotta move that way. That's not good. Alright, I'm gonna go for a block here. I don't like it. I want to go here. I really don't like being in this predicament. I'm giving this up. But AI, of course, when it comes to games, they know how to play games. They're the best game players, so be it. There's more to life than playing games. Life is about doing a lot more things. It's more than work. It's more than any one thing that you can think of. But AI is given a valuation right now that is far beyond what can deliver. Can't deliver that much in the next few years, and you can't price beyond the next few years. You can't price 20 years in the future. Everything has to be priced in a very logical and in a manner that's consistent. And what I'm trying to think of is the order of things has to be correct. And you can't overprice things in the short term. It gets corrected by the market. And the market is more efficient now than ever. Why? Because of machines. Because let's see, what do we got here? What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? What do we got here? I'm gonna make that. And it's important to focus on things, and if you can't focus, you're not gonna be as good as what you can be. And a lot of companies using AI and they don't know where to focus the attention on. Where do I use this AI? How do I use it? And it's very simple. You should always use things to the highest and best use. So in AI, what would be the best use? It would be kind of computer based because it still these large language models are not very good at what they do. Um, let's continue with that move. That's what I was thinking of at first, but you want to go through all the moves that you can. You want to go through everything that you've got experience with and what you've learned over the years. You've got this intangent knowledge. You have this knowledge that is unknown, but it exists and exists in varying amounts and stages and such, depending upon when we're talking about. Right now, I think that my cognitive abilities are pretty good. Chess is a good way to measure that. So this is what you want to do. You want to, before you get into any kind of situation where you're going to be using logic, you want to test your logic. You might think that you're in a good case, good headspace to do something, and it turns out that you're not. You want to be in the space, and how do you know that you're in the correct? Well, you can measure it, and if you're always measuring where you're at, then you can get a good measurement for a very short window of time, because playing chess, doing the test, actually takes energy out of you. And so the next decision you have to make is actually going to be a little bit less, unless you're warming up. Then you play a little bit of chess, and you've actually the next decision you make is a little bit better, and so you have this spread, like the spread in the market, the bid-ask spread. And the highest and best use case comes from real estate. And we have that kind of knowledge that the AI doesn't have, that we can cross use knowledge gained in different areas and put it all together. And that will be AGI. That will be when the computers will have the kind of knowledge that people have and abilities. Until then, it doesn't have that. Right now, it's still just a box knowledge. It's got its knowledge in code, and that code is set, and it's not as malleable as we are. Can we make it malleable? Can it become malleable? These things will be to be determined in the future. We're not to know. Time has to figure out things for us. So I could gain the middle here by sacking my bishop. And then I can have two pawns in the middle here and then pressure this bishop to get out of the way. I gotta get this bishop going, so if I can get this bishop out of the way and then develop this bishop, it's not pressured by the queen yet. That's kind of my thinking right now. So it's center based. I don't really have anything open. I don't have that. That's cramped. So sometimes you just gotta sack pieces. He's got these two. It's a very nice pair. My bishop's not really working right now. He's going to have his bishop pair, though. So that's why you don't want to give up your bishop early. That's why you got to go things in order, and you got to figure out. So, yes, we have a cramped position. Do we need to? We don't have to castle, though. So, he's got nothing because this knight is guarding the way. He would have to go here and then here, Mr. Domina, or Miss Domina. Can go either way, but once we get to castle, we're fine. So he's got two different moves here, and then I wouldn't be able to move this bishop out. So that's why I want to try and get the bishop out now. This isn't going to be helpful, I don't think. So I'm going to just play it very simple and get the bishop going. I don't like the position that I'm in right now. And now he's got this, which is better than this, getting my queen out. Getting this bishop to this awkward square here. But it's not a bad square either. I'm not going to be pushing these pawns till late in the game. So if I can get advantage before then I'm fine. And the only way you can win a game, in theory, is by giving your opponent an advantage. Otherwise, in theory, every game is a draw. Because if I were to play something like an A6 opener, if I were to play an H6 opener, I'm making a mistake right off the bat. And that's why you get evaluations that will be in your opponent's favor by a slight bit. But at the beginning, you're 0-0. Even black is at a 0. It's not at a negative. You're not automatically in the red just because you're playing with the black pieces. You're automatically in the tied position. And so that is a theory behind markets, where an efficient market will put you into... So I don't get the middle now. I don't have my bishop. I could do a bishop and a knight, and then he can have his bishop pair. That could be a thing. Doesn't have the bishop backed up. I still have my dark squared bishop to go against here. So we've got to start thinking long term here. This isn't a bad play. Pin this, make him move here, and then kick me out. Move there. So I'm going to kind of want to trap the knight if I'm going to do something like that. I don't see any traps. I don't like doing this. So just castle. We're playing a slow game. It's very favorable for black to play these slow games where white's got no attacks. Can you even maneuver? You would have to maneuver here. Where the most important squares right in front of the king. And that's the way you've got to look at things. When you've got a portfolio and you've got your retirement portfolio that kind of takes precedence over other portfolios that you have. And so you're going to play it, so to speak, differently. Can I get this? Get this. Make him pull back. Get to the edge of the board. Is that something that I want him to do? It's very interesting. Unclog this. I don't have anywhere for my knight to go. I mean, we just don't have a developed position. We don't have anything where anything is talking to us. Have this. Come up. Now I can't give up that because the knight is there. So the myriad of things you have to think about. Here and then do that. I don't think that's too bad. The reason why I wouldn't do that is because I might want to do that instead. But I have to figure out what they're going to do. What are they likely to do? If they do something like that, that's going to be really cramped. So I like any kind of position that can get this bishop going backwards right now. So that's what that does. Could do that and then just get rid of the bishop. Just got nothing happening here. That and then that can still open up my bishop, but that is not necessarily the best case. You want your bishop to be on an outpost. You want your knight to be on an outpost. So this kind of thinking that you do in chess is also going to be very helpful in anything else because we have that ability. The AI doesn't. Because the AI doesn't have these abilities, I'm going to do this. Fianchetto. The AI doesn't have the abilities that we have, so it's not a real threat to us right now. It's not known how to be used right now. And because people have these tools and don't know where it's going to go, how it's going to be used, then the tool isn't used in the way it can be. But you need engineers because remember, it's in a box. Now, how do you not engineer things and engineer things? You make it alive. And that's why we say AI would be conscious because it would be alive like people, like insects, things that can change. So it would have the ability to change, but you'd have a core of it that can't change. That's what you want. Okay, that's what he should be doing. Attacking that. That's not good. I don't know if this is good, right? So I think that's going to be a pretty solid move. Keep it in the middle of the board. Don't get it to the edge. Don't get it cramped here. And then you're looking at what kind of ways can it back me up. Could back up that way. If you could start doing this, right? Then I have to go here, here, and we lose the bishop. We don't want to lose the bishop. We do that. If this, that's not a good trade-off. This start moving their pawns. Do they want their pawns to move here? Well, that would help unclogging this bishop. Then I have to go after that bishop. So this could lead to this. Well, that one, but that would. Okay, so this and then a counterattack. So you have to know these different heuristics involved, and that's going to help you in stock trading where you have a technical analysis and you name things, you name different patterns, and then you know what percentages go with the patterns, and you don't have to think through it that much. Right now, I'm thinking through things quite a bit. You want to already have knowledge in place, and so when you have basic fundamentals in place, then you have time to think about it, then you can make good decisions. Everything is time constraints, everything is talent constraints. What are the other constraints? Resource constraints. Um, let's say ability. You could have resources, and you could have talent, but you might not have the ability. I could have a computer in front of me. I could know how to use that computer, but right now I've got to eat. and I do have to eat, or have to sleep. Okay, so you could say that's a time constraint, but I like to separate the constraint. And you see this path that the knight can take. And so you notice these squares not available. Okay, square that's on is not available. And so you see things in this pattern. It's going to help you think a little bit better. You could also think of it in this pattern here, right? This is an expansive pattern, and this is the more contracted pattern, where you're thinking the opposites of this. So actually what you're doing, you're thinking, okay, I do have control of this. Actually don't have control of these. So all this you don't have control over. So this looks like we're looking at two moves ahead. One move ahead, this is nothing. The second move, it's something. Third move, there's no other third move. It's blocked. Third move is blocked. This is in a constraint pattern of two moves. Do I have to do anything? All right, so first thing you look at, doing things in order. Captures. Do we have any checks? There's no checks. Okay, I have one check actually. And then is there a follow-up? There's this follow-up here. Check. If he takes. I can already write this off. There's not enough pieces for an attack there. Okay, there's no captures. I want to make sure. Okay, so where's the threats? I start off with, I need to threaten the pieces that are on my side of the board. I could start moving this up. Could do this. I could kick them out. Could do this. That could be a problem for them, right? Can I go after? I can go after. And then I have to play this move. So when anything is a must play, I want to kind of think about that. I don't want to have to play a must play, and this is the best. Come up here. Come here. So now I'm looking for moves that are threats, that are attacks and defenses. This will defend that. Even though it's not needed, we already have a pawn defending it. But it also attacks. It backs up this attack here, and then you have to come out. Now you see how I did this fianchetto? Well, I didn't do the fianchetto yet, but now I can't do this, because if I had done this pawn first and then kicked out, but this is the secondary type of strategy that you have to be thinking about. Where is this bishop going to go? If I kick it out and it doesn't have the square to go to, it can't go here. This knight isn't doing much. It can do something here. Can do something here. Can come here. This is an outpost, and then it can't get kicked out. So this is the outpost that you have to know about, outpost strategy. Okay, we could do that. Because he doesn't have control over this outpost. Doesn't have anything there yet. This there. The minor piece. Now, this isn't having control over it because of the point disparity. Now, if I go there, I'm forced to do that. Remember that. I'm forced to do that. Then that. And that. Okay. So we're going to go for it. They invaded our space, and now we invade their space. So this is like an escalating conflict, where it doesn't even have to end in any kind of guaranteed outcome. The only guaranteed outcome is it's going to be at least a draw. There has to be a win, there has to be a lose, or there has to be a draw. And draw should be the most likely event. And you don't get these likely events in blitz chess, makes blitz chess so fascinating to watch because they're making mistakes on purpose. They know how to cover them up. But actually doing the same thing at every level of chess, because even if you're playing daily chess, you might get bored and you might want to think of a trap such in this and that. There's that, so we have to move that. I just want to double check. Okay, there's no way to defend this square except do that. Where are you gonna move? You don't want to move the queen, and there's no. So you got to move here, or you move here to an outpost. Move to the outpost. Now this is open, but then I move to the outpost. But then you come here. And then I come here, then you come here. So I don't like any of that, right? But what if I go here? Can't really do that. Okay. So there's that. That doesn't. Okay, I don't think he understands what's going on. This doesn't affect it. Like you can't take here, you can't, especially can't take there. Oh, I see. You did that, and now you picked up my bishop. Very nice. Do you have any secondary attacks? You don't have a secondary attack there, but you have a secondary attack here. So very nice. You did get that. But I'm going to pressure here. And there's no way for you to counter pressure until you come back. So now I can get that middle that I always wanted, right? This is the middle I always wanted. And you don't have to take, but I think you might take. Where else can you go? Okay. You go anywhere along here except these. Except these. And then you can go here and there. That's about it. Can you go there? No. No. So those are squares you can go to. Now this is where the game becomes more complicated. Because I'm going to go here and I just want, you can't go there. These are the ones you can't go to. These. Okay, not there. That one. So that's it. You can go to 4 squares. Because I've created a scenario where it's not as many squares as it was. See, now I can reinforce, and then that. Notice that there's no pawns to kick me out. Now you've got this minor piece here to kick out. I can reinforce. Now I can reinforce the middle, and these are all basics that you have to know. And you can figure it out, but only if you have enough time. Only if you know the basics. Only if you know the tenets of the game that you're playing. What are the tenets to stocks, bonds, the markets? Remember, it's all markets. So we're talking about Beanie Babies, or we're talking about crypto, or we're talking about going to an open market, a flea market. You're going to Sears. You're going to JCPenney's and Robux. You're going to the 5 and Dime store. You're going to the guy across the street. Going to the person selling fruit in a fruit stand. These are markets. You got to understand each market individually. You got to understand the whole premise of markets, and then where the variance is. Once you understand these kinds of things, then you'll be fine. Remember, I got this now. Advancing to take this pawn. Yeah, I got a piece back. It's not, but this piece was not as valuable as this piece. Right in front of my king. It's prime real estate. But this follow-up here, because there's nothing to attack, unless you want to sacrifice your bishop here. If you sacrifice your bishop, then I'm going to probably let you do that. And then I've got this check here to also get out of the way. But anyway, we come here. We reinforce it. I did say I was going to reinforce it with this, but that's the thing. Your cognitive abilities aren't 100%, but I can still reinforce it here. And then you could come and attack the reinforcement. And so this is where you got the dominoes. Okay, and just like in the markets, you have dominoes. One thing affects another. If wheat prices go up, corn prices go up. It's going to affect fertilizer prices, going to affect this and that and things unknown. And if you get the computer to start thinking about these unknown things that we can't think about, then you're moving in the right direction. You make the final decision as a person, and then eventually you can teach the machine how to make the final decision. AI stocks chess. AI stocks chess. So it is our turn. So, and they moved out to here. Well, what are you doing? You're opening up an attack. I'm gonna move there anyway. You should have moved here. Okay. So, do I go there? 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 I mean, does this matter? Does this piece even matter? Because I got this bishop here. I can double up these rooks. It's going to force me to move to the middle and not to the outside. I mean, I guess I'm fine with that, right? I guess I'm fine with it. You got to live with that. This is where I'd rather be. I have a nice open line, but I might have a nice open line in the future. So it's not a big deal, and I can pair up my rooks. That's what I want to do. Okay, so now he's going to try and create this trap. Now we can see the trap. And do I want to double up pawns here? He's going to bring this over. I can't do that. Here, watch this. Here, 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 and now I've defended, and I can get my knight out this way, which is weird. Isn't that wild? That is wild. And it's only 2 moves. 1, 2. And you need 2 moves to take. So it's that simple basic math, knowing how to apply it. I mean, I could do this. I could also do that. But now, if I do this, and then you catch on, you're like, oh, I'm not going to let you do that. But look, you can't, because I've got it covered. Got it covered. This will take you 1, 2 moves. That still would have taken you 2 moves, right? And then this is 1 move, 2 moves to get it out. I'm moving first. So it's 2 minus 2 is 0, but I get the balance of that 0. I get the positional balance. Okay, this is what Terrence Howard was talking about with 1 times 1. It's kind of misguided because it's math as a language, but I understand completely that in a scientific sense there isn't nothing. There's only something, and when you multiply something by something you get more than what you had. So there he goes. He does that. So I made the mistake thinking that he could only move this rook. He can move this rook, right? Now it's trapped. But unfortunately for him, I can just get out this way. Right? I can get out like this. That, 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 something like that. So now he's got these 2 defenders. So that doesn't do anything. So I didn't think about this rook moving. And this is what got me into this predicament. Now I now have to attack. So do I attack here or do I attack here? So we attack with the center. That's fine. We'll attack with the center here. Should have used this piece here. Because now if you go back, I can go there. So that's, remember we had that as the original plan, that you can't do anything there, right? And you can't go, but you can go here. See, if I had done that, you can't defend this square. That's where we made the mistake. So, no mistakes were made. And We actually had it if we had moved this piece here. And this is just something to think about is when do I break down in games? I break down late in games. When it comes down to this time, I break down because I'm out of my rhythm. My rhythm, this is how you know you can beat opponents like this because you see that their rhythm is just too slow. But we're just not going to win this game because this is just too big of a blunder. Too big. Too big of a blunder. There's nothing you can do here. This is a massive blunder. Just absolutely massive blunder. So, just going to be impossible to win. Now the possibility is in time. If this opponent had all the time in the world, I know they'd beat me. See, we could have recovered, but why didn't we recover? Because we're not fully focused. There's a ton of reasons why. So it's just not good right now. Can't defend here. Go there, it's take. And, that's it. So I could just resign here because this is a situation you should never see yourself in. We're just going to resign. You really should never see yourself in that situation where you're down 3. No, I know what the right move was. Go there. Go there. Go there. Go there. Go there. That's what I was thinking. But we didn't do it because when I grabbed this piece here, I grabbed it with both buttons and then I let go of the right button. And that's why it moved it very quickly on me. So that's another mistake. A mistake in just simple using the tools. You're not using the tools correctly. And when you can identify all the different things and all the mistakes that you make, then you can apply it towards something else in life. And you want to make all your mistakes where there's no consequences.